Alright, hey everyone, I am out here in Level Canyon, hiking around. I have a video coming out for that. That'll be the next video. But I wanted to take the time to speak to you about my last trip. I got stuck in one of the canyons here in the Spring Mountains, and I had to be rescued. I didn't have any cell phone service. Eventually we did get out. If you haven't seen that video, it's right here. The link to that is in the description and in a card. Anyways, so let's get started and I'll tell you a little bit about that.
Just tell me how we lost track of everything but each other. I honestly don't know. And tell me how we messed up, drifting away from each other. Didn't want to let you go. Cause we wanted different things and I have to deal with it. But it's not easy, so tell me how to let go. Cause you really seem to know.
Anyway, so a couple weeks ago I went with my boyfriend Hank and we took the Jeep up to a canyon in the Spring Mountains, and I really wanted to go with him first to see if my car would make it. So we went, and four-wheel drive was used and it is highly recommended. We did get through, and piece of cake, we got through, we got out, perfect. So the next week I actually planned a trip with Jocelyn. We were going to actually camp, and so we loaded up my Chevy Trailblazer and hit the road. Check out these views for a minute and I'll get into what I would do next time or what I would do differently. Okay, so one thing I did do right is I told someone where I was going, exactly where I would be, and when I did plan to be back. I loaded up the car, and I always keep kind of an emergency kit in my car. I packed up the air compressor even, and packed up the car with my camping stuff, and we hit the road. We go down the dirt road. It's kind of bumpy, kind of rocky. No big deal. I'm a pretty good driver when it comes to off-roading. I really do enjoy the technical stuff, so I was pretty excited about this trip. What I was more excited about was camping near the water, but obviously, if you've seen the last video, that did not go as planned. Actually, where we did get stuck is close to here, near Level Canyon, but it's a separate road. Anyways, so go down the dirt road, perfectly fine. I wanted to see how far I could go without using four-wheel drive, and then we hit the point where the water hits the road, and you drive basically through the creek bed to get to the area where you park and hang out. So anyways, I got to that point and I realized that I did need four-wheel drive. So Jocelyn's getting her stuff out of the car and we're gonna go set up camp so that we're not setting it up in the cold. We can definitely relax just a little bit. I know we'll eventually get out of here. We're not the only ones that have probably been stuck here. I don't know if anybody has been stuck here, but I'm just guessing. Trying to make myself feel better. And we're just gonna go relax in our chairs and get cozy and just wait to see what happens. By the time I turned on the four-wheel drive, I thought I was good to go. I was getting a little scared because there have been a few times where my four-wheel drive did fail and I needed to get pulled out, but for some reason I figured the last time we were in it in the Jeep that no problem, I would be able to do fine. One thing I would have done is definitely paid more attention when Hank was driving, paid more attention to the road, because I should have done that first. I should have walked the road when Hank was driving so that I would understand what I was dealing with when I came back out, and I should have checked for alternate ways to the parking area. Anyways, Jocelyn and I got to the area where we needed the four-wheel drive, and it was kind of sketchy, but I just kept going, and I have this, when I'm off-roading, I just keep going. I don't stop. I just keep the momentum there so that I can get to where I need to be or get to more solid ground. But in this case, the water was flowing against me, and I was forcefully stopped. So I got out of the car and I decided to look around. Okay, so I did what most people do when they get stuck, is I got back into the car and I decided to floor it. Huge mistake, should not have done that. I just dug myself in deeper, which is a huge regret. And so that's when problems began to escalate even more. I definitely would not have gotten back into the car and did what I did. And so that was mistake number one, or what I thought was mistake number one. So I hike up the canyon and go to the parking area to see if there's any other vehicles. We had passed quite a few vehicles on the way in, so I thought for sure there would be someone up there. There was a nice group of people in a Jeep that they had just purchased. And my plan when I saw them was to ask them to actually just push me backward with their Jeep. But they had just purchased it, and the guy, he did not want to, join in on that. And I don't blame him whatsoever. So that was definitely something that, didn't work in my favor, but I do appreciate the help for sure. And then a gentleman and his father pulled up in a Can-Am, and they asked me for my tow straps so that they could use a come along to get me out. In your mind, you go through everything that's in your vehicle before you leave the house and while you're on the road and when you get stuck. And I knew at that moment that for sure I did not have any tow straps. I literally had everything else. Well, not everything else, but I literally had so many things, but not the tow strap. Huge mistake. I should always double check my car to make sure that I have the proper equipment just in case something happens. No matter what situation I'm in, I should always have tow straps in my car. So that is definitely one of my mistakes. I don't even have an excuse besides that I did not even check to see if I had tow straps. The gentleman did have a come along and a small rope, but obviously that didn't do the trick, and the nearest tree was quite far, so that didn't really work. And the gentleman with the Jeep did volunteer to pull me out with the small rope, but it snapped. But obviously it's a lot of weight, so then we had to decide what we were going to do next. So I decided to give my phone number to the guy in the Can-Am, and he decided to head out, and when he had service he would call Hank and tell him where we are. Boy, check out this view. It is incredible all around. There are some pretty bad flies on this trail. Okay, so he did get a hold of Hank, and like I said in the beginning, Jocelyn and I actually planned on camping, so we decided to set up camp because we weren't sure if Hank and his dad and his brother were going to come in that night or if they were going to wait until the morning till it was light. So we decided to set up camp so we didn't get cold, or we just wanted to get comfortable. There was no sense in worrying whatsoever. So they did end up coming out, and they had tow straps and Matt's truck and those platforms that go under your tires. I don't know why. I cannot think of the name. Actually, he did not have that. He had motorcycle ramps for his truck. And eventually they did get us out, and we decided to go all the way home instead of camping or setting up our... Anyways, so I'm stressed out, and we're on our way home. We're out. We're safe. Not really sure how my car is going to drive again, how it's going to feel, if I need to fix some things. Obviously, I need to fix a solenoid in my four-wheel drive, and I need to think about what I need to purchase before I head out on the next off-roading adventure. There's definitely a few things. Those mats, I cannot remember the name, but I will insert them here. I need a come along. I need enough toe straps to get me out of even the worst situation, and I'm definitely going to invest in a two-way GPS. So I covered mostly everything with lessons learned. One more thing is, once I get my four-wheel drive solenoid fixed, I will go off-roading, but with another vehicle, just in case, something goes wrong and I need to test it out. I think I might purposely get stuck with someone else around and just practice more getting unstuck, and so I have help if I need it. So those are just the main things that I take away from this. It's definitely not going to prevent me from adventuring. If anything, someone did ask me if I would never go back up there to that canyon again. And if anything, right now it makes me want to go back up there again once everything's fixed and just try it again in my vehicle. It's just kind of one of those things, like, if you don't finish something, you just really want to finish it. So those are just my lessons learned. I have a list that I have made for off-roading now, and I have it in the blog that goes with this video. So go on over to my website, recreationoutsidelasvegas.com. The link to the blog is in the description, and you can print out the list for yourself. Anyways, I hope that you enjoyed the video. I hope that you learned something from my mistakes. And if you have any input, leave it in the comments below, because I always respond. Have a good one.